But when that storm surge hit, you know, we stayed at 70 all the way till half and half. Now that the competition's ending, people are getting desperate. They're going for their plan E's, their plan F's instead of B's and C's. They're sticking to outside their guns, outside their box, and really pushing for things to keep them in the competition.
A little fatigue is definitely setting in, and I was listening to the NA West. I was watching some, you know, watch parties. Shout out to all the watch parties out there. I was watching them and I was hearing comms that sometimes they're like, yo, I never landed here before. I never rotated here before. I have no clue what I'm doing. That's what ends up happening here when you've exhausted every kind of plan or any kind of scrim idea, practice scrim that you've done before, and now you're just up against it, back against the wall. Some people's walls are completely gone.
Anas, Thomas, and Flick want to rebuild those walls 100%. Fourth place coming in to this next game right now. Vidil, Norai, and Reason trying to make sure they stay in the lead. Angenis and Chapix, they want to be here too. Right now, our top 10 teams are all alive for this game. And for Thomas, Anas, and Flick, they're way ahead of Surge. The thing that's held them back so far, they've cut the tape off and now are inside the crime scene wanting to do more.
And keep an eye on 6 through 10. We're talking about Verex's trio, Miro's trio, Slender's trio, and Cammy's trio, and DKS's trio. $15,000 if they fall. I know there's still one more game left, but it's going to be huge if one of them does go down. And Vidil actually gets knocked by Verox.
Wow, so that is literally fifth, trying to climb all the way back in, trying to get higher up in the rankings. Might just be a snipe though, because you know how far these guys are. No, it's a box fight, right side by side. But I don't see Verox anywhere, so might have been an overpeak. I have a deal.
I'm telling you, their game plan of taking box fights, sometimes it could backfire right now. I mean, we've seen so many aggressive players throughout the world. Sometimes their aggression, their instinct gets them in trouble that they're not supposed to do, and they get hit in the face really hard and knocks them down. So that's what happened to Vidil, one of the best box fighters in the world, one of the most aggressive fighters in the world, and now it's going to be up to Noah Ryland Reason, who are looking for redemption from last season. They have an opportunity here to kind of close that big door. Let's keep that metaphor going. This door just got a little bit heavier, and there's a lot of things in that way. That door-to-door salesman foot just got bigger.
Absolutely, and right now, forget about salesmen. I'm looking at just pioneers, captains of the scene right now with Guild and Gamma, the trio, Anas, Thomas, HD, Flick. High ground position. Talked about it. You give these guys one game. What was the number? Sancho, 26 elims the other day?
26 elims and a second place finish.
That was huge. They're trying to replicate that. We'll see if it's possible. 663 damage above as well. They have Benji, Matzo, and Amplify to fight on the other side of high ground as well.
This is going to be an all or nothing rotation here. Huge rotation here. Fifth zone showing up. Strong opportunity here. 5 elims so far. And take a look here. Sitting perched up top is Matzo's trio on the other side.
Looking at everything all around, more people down all the way towards the bottom. Looks like Benji has the better base all the way towards the top side. Snazy's there all the way on low right behind Ref's guard, and at the same time, Hen is below Benji. So if anyone slips for even a second at this moment, it could spell disaster. Teak, Seti, and Cammy are also on the sight lines of Snazy. They're alive in this game. They were put on ice, Sancho, for this entire tournament run so far. Right now, they could defrost, come back, and have a say in the top 5.
And that's what it comes down to. It's going to come down to performance as much as possible here on these rotations. Everyone has to stick together. And Alexis Trio had a great game in the previous one, being together, sticking to the fundamentals of FNCS Trio play.
We're looking at Reason's POV. He's the last person alive, also way back in the zone. It's the 6-1 rotating. He's trying to get something done, but it's absolutely not possible. Unfortunate. Still actually just staying alive towards the very side, but man, as a solo player, this is going to be very, very tough.
Very tough, but Reason can do this here. Every placement point matters now that we're in the 17th. Now they're getting dished out.
Absolutely, and I'm still looking forward to see exactly what we can see from Reason over here, but it's very tricky in terms of him being able to survive. We'll hop around a few POVs and see exactly what's possible in this scenario. Still looking at a majority of these teams. It's getting crazy. Reason actually elevated a few layers. The zone is starting to move. 41 different players alive. Top 17, so placements here. Reason can still find a way for his team to stay here if he survives in the #1 spot. He's getting bullied from down below. Don't slip now, my man. You got to stay alive. You got to stay up. Right above Savage and iDrop2. He's looking for a way forward. 50 damage above Surge. He's keeping the throne for himself and his team.
Now he's going into a other instinct mode of just fight and survive as much as possible. Close to out of mats. Now he's down to only just a soft mat. So he's going to be a big target here. He's going to have to switch layers. He's going to have to move. He's going to have to bounce to survive as much as possible. He is still getting placement as the other trios are going down. Thomas HC Amplify getting some big knocks in the feet. Reason, the wood build from behind was just not as strong enough to handle the beams.
Just 5 placement points for him to roll with in this game. Would that be the difference to keep them in first? Hen, Chatfix, and Janus have an opportunity to push forward and claim that prize.
Snazy and Elixir Squeeze are still in this fight in third place now. We're going to have to keep an eye on where Vidil, no rival. Reasons now has been frozen in time. That is going to be something where he's locked in. Hen's trio is still on their feet here, and solo is Thomas HD. The Benji's right there getting triple beamed here.
RPG!
RBG comes in and stops the triple beam. They got to go back to the defensive stance. And look at height. It is Thomas HC and Nos and Flick going against Pizza's trio.
It's trying to just hold it all the way up top. Thomas has run out of shields. He's popping a few more. This is a big thought. All the way down below, he's still looking for some chances to shoot down. Flick gets forced down slightly.
It's Matzo and Benji Fishy. Whoa, my goodness.
Snazy went down completely. Those guys get frozen in time. Third place not to get any more points in this game. Ardent is also getting bullied. Flick has found an opening and he finds a few shots. He lands them.
This is going to be big for Flick, Thomas, and Anas right now. 10 elims and control of the high ground. Hen is down below with Janus here with Chapix, and they have a big fight with Tayson and Savage. That's going to be a big layer-to-layer fight engagement here. Let's go down low. Cubix gets taken down by Hen. Hen, Janus, and Chapix are fighting together. They're looking strong. They're usually down to duos, but as a trio, they're still deadly, and they take out Tayson easily.
That's another big pickup. Benji's also active in the feed, but now they're taking damage. Hen, big chunk splashes to keep him alive in the zone. What a pocket play right there.
But
Gamma is still up top. They're hitting down big beams. Just one left. It's Hen. Can he make the difference? No, so close.
Flick, Anas, and Thomas HC now has an opportunity to keep moving up the board considering second place is down. Huge opportunity now. It's 11 elims and a top 3 finish, but they want more than that. Matzo gets bopped. Benji Fishy gets bopped. It's a top 2 and a victory royale, and you said the door might be closed. Anas, Thomas HC, and Flick are about to kick the door wide open. Cammy Seti are holding on as much as possible. This trio has had a bad day all day long, but you know you could shake off an L with a big fat W, but Flick says take this L, Seti, right to the chest. Flick and Austin Thomas HC cannot be stopped, and they pick up Teak. Oh my goodness, this trio from a blaze from up high is now putting so much pressure on Cammy, and Cammy's deep with the heels, but he's getting big time tagged in the back. But wow, what a finish from Thomas HD, Flick, and Anas, baby.
16 eliminations, I think. Man, and they kept the heat up enough to actually bring Seti all the way towards the end game too. Nice to, get those guys off of some ice, but still, that entire end game was basically just the top 5, top 10 teams battling it out.
16 elims on the final stage, and one of the last 2 games of the finals. Talk about clutch, Shayo.
I thought it was going to be concrete. I thought we were basically done and it'd be the same patterns over and over, but finally these guys get one game. They get an inch. I want to see how long they actually drag this whole thing out now. We have the desk ready. We have Reese, Levin, and Zeke. We need to know exactly what happened that game.
So much has unfolded off of this last game. Sancho, West, and Shywage, they made a statement earlier on in that game. They talked about this being like a book. And right now, we're nearing the final chapter of this book. And we don't know who the author is, because the author are your trio's champion. Right now, gentlemen, this is coming down to the wire. This is like Thomas, Flick, and Anas coming in. They came into this game in a second place, right behind the first place team, trying to pull ahead. And with this game, they very well may have cemented themselves in that #1 spot going into this last game. It's possible, depending on what happens, they may have just closed out the entire competition.
There was so much to break down in that last game. It felt like,
oh my God,
it was like an all-star match almost. Going into the end game, all the big names that we've been talking about this entire day were still up. They were still relevant in the entire game. And that last 3 players, last 3 teams alive, was almost like basically the top from day one, right? We saw so many teams. We saw Flick, Anas, and Thomas HD, which have moved themselves up to 3rd after that. That is incredibly close as well. Now being 4 points behind Vidil, Norali, and Rezon, but Hen, Janus, and Chapix managed to pick up 28 points in that last game with 7 eliminations, still in the 1st place slot.
We're going into the final game of the FNCS with, what, an 11-point gap between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd?
Yep.
You know, it doesn't get much better than this. Like, we're about to see one of these teams, you know, have to ultimately win the game to be the champions. Like, this is about to get just all sorts of crazy. My brain's turning to mush. I literally just don't even know. Like, this is just way beyond the realms of possibility for me. Looking at who's here from 6th to 10th, though, right? We still have some of these teams who, you know, they are lagging a bit behind in points, but, you know, if somebody was to replicate what we just saw from Thomas and Flick, right? They just had what, like a 62-point game? Like a 62-point game for Cammy's team right now, that would put them, you know, in sort of 250-point range and put them well in the way of being able to, you know, up their earnings in that sense. So really, we're looking like, oh, the final game's about to be mad, Reese.
The final game is about to be so intense. Like I said, 11 points between the top 3. Everyone has to be focusing on these 3 teams right now. If you're looking outside of these 3 teams, yes, there's more prize money for every time you move up those slots. But let's be real, the Axe of Champions is currently presiding. Looks like it's going to Hen, Janus, and Chapix if it was just frozen right here. However, it could go either way. And, you know, these guys have been popping off all day and all day yesterday too. You know, definitely hotter today than they were yesterday. We saw kind of Seti, Cammy, Teak popping off so much yesterday, taking that 1st place slot, but slowing down a lot today. They're also starting to slow up and speed up in this last game too.
Guys, I want to know from both of you, right? I'm turning into my little host right here. Sorry, Zeke, I'm taking your job. I want to know from both of you, right? What's the team talk going into this, right? Like, the final game, you have to have a huge game. Like, what are you saying to your teammates? Like, it's a massive moment.
Bro.
Take it, Zeke. Take it out. I want to hear it.
Listen, you go into this last game like it's any other game, because the moment you start to put all this pressure on yourself and you think this is it, we can't mess up, you're gonna lose. If you go into this and say, we've spent our entire Fortnite career training for this moment in time, we do everything, we've done the same, we know we can win, so don't think about it. Let's just go take the Axe for ourselves.
Man, I feel like, you know what? It doesn't matter what these teams say to each other, because I think they need to get Zeke in the call right now. He is going to motivate whoever's team Zeke joins. They're in 1st place. I'm putting my money on that right now. That's a speech and a half right there. But, you know, at this
honestly,
I was gonna say, any of these teams right now, really, they need to just stay positive. They need to stay confident. Every single team in the top 3 has the ability to perform, and they have performed so far. So, like, they just need to stay confident, play their game that they're doing. I am so excited for this next game. It's actually unbelievable.
My heart is skipping beats right now. Fortnite fam, this is it. One final game, and we will know which trio walks away your FNCS champions. Let's do this one last time in Chapter 2, Season 5. Shia Wager, Sancho, Shancho. Let's get it, boys.
Pop-offs, comebacks, tyranny, defeat. We've seen it all here now in the last 11 games in EU. Sancho, we have one more to sign off with that'll change everything in the standings.
Let me give you a number, folks. 11 points separate the top 1 to number 5. 11 points. Elims are worth 2. Everything matters and everything is on the line. Don't you go anywhere, because it's about to go down right now.
Absolutely. There's been a different team popping off and coming back all the way towards the end. We just saw one game. That's all Thomas and Austin Flick needed to stay and be inside the conversation for top 3. We just saw the whole day be owned by Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason. Back-to-back aggression, a few wins here and there, a few top placements. It's beautiful to watch. And at the same time, we're watching Hen, Janus, and Chapix just play Fortnite at the most perfect top percentage level every single game. you honestly cannot predict which way you want it to go. You can only hope that this team, you know, or any of these teams give us the best game of our lives.
Now we're having a look here. Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reason. We've been taking crazy engagements, getting into box fights, getting into scrums all around the Fortnite island, showing no mercy to anyone that's in their path. Now, can you do that same thing when it's all on the line? Hundreds of thousands of dollars for every placement points. That's the biggest question I probably asked all weekend. Man,
It's a big difference still.
the big difference. You say playing Fortnite every day, like every other day. I don't know, man. We're talking about opportunities to be a a two-time FNCS champion in Analytics. We have Thomas HC seeking his first big-time major, time, and it's alongside with some of the Benji Fishies of the world. This is what I'm talking about. Janice again going for a two-time FNCS championship. Hen, I would say the same thing, right? Hen looking for the opportunities for his first major FNCS championship. Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
It's huge for Thomas too, absolutely, yeah. Because of that factor, wants that major win on his side. So we'll talk about the flavor of these top three teams for Thomas HD, Flick, and Anas. You think it'd be Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reason, but these guys are leading in elims right now, just by one ahead of Vidil. 66 rolling into the day. That's what's keeping them near the top. The 16 push we just had from last game. If they get hyped again, it has to be wraps. At the same time, we've seen the retakes from Vidil, Reason, Noah Riley. They're stopping some of the best trios in the region from controlling the game. Because of this, they have 65 elims, an average placement of 12. So they're just getting aggressive before the end game even starts. And because of this, every single game, they're now in second place. For the first place team, though, these guys are absolutely perfect. An average placement of 7th, average elims of 5 every game, 2 victory royales. Hen, Janice, and Chapix have had the most screen time, honestly, because they're in every single end game.
This is going to be such a difficult rotation. You saw we have Zone 1, which is just as important as Zone 9. Zone 1 shows us it's going to be a northeast type of engagement. Already, we've seen Hen, Janice, and Chapix do really well with these zones. So this is going to be a tough rotation for Amplify, Matzo, and Benji. We've seen them go through Colossal Coliseum. We've seen them sand tunnel up to that center location here in front of the Orchard. Vidil, Noah Riley, Reason, they tend to rotate on that top left side, making their way past Pleasant Park, going from the Blue Bridge. So expect them to be there. And Andalix, Snazy, and Xweez coming in from the right side of the Colossal Coliseum. So you're going to see all these kind of dead side rotations because those teams are not looking for a fight. But Noah Riley is going to look for a fight because this is his Storm Surge plan. But look at that mini-map, Shio. There's only one team with Holly Hedges. And I'm thinking Vidil's going to go visit Holly Hedges soon.
Wait, where did you go?
Maybe, but man, every time I'm watching these guys upgrade, it's just not fair. Look at this. Look at the loadout. Chugs minis, the fastest heals you can have in the game. They just don't have floppers. I guess they don't want to fish. They don't need them. And then a full purple gold loadout too. This is just, it's going to be a monster inside a box fight.
And we're talking about monster rotations. Naslik and Thomas HG basically make the same rotation as Analyx's trio. We've already seen them be neighboring rotational partners.
That's my base.
We see that they are basically the buddy system moving along. It's always deadly when they make this rotation.
They don't have to make the rotation technically, right? They got zone. This is their game potentially. They got the zone. If Dirty ever gets zone, we've seen it just completely take over the entire game. Still, they'll have to play a slightly different game because they're not hunting for elims right now. They're fighting for control of different spots on the map.
And you're seeing them, look at this. They're going to take this coastal rotation maybe. But let's put that on pause. This is big here. All of a sudden, the
Drift?
Holly Hedges team has been getting hit all day. Now we're going to decide to fight back. And this is going to be a big engagement for Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason. They have to survive this. They do get aware really nicely right now.
Language.
But wow,
I only speak
Legend
English,
here
not Spanish.
in Karma
He speaks
to
English.
stop take the ride for right now for Badil, Noah, Riley, and Reason.
Then why
We're
did I
talking
take
about
almost that? Then why did I hear
$100,000 on
that?
this line in this engagement here. But still, there's some money from Legends Trio, but they're stepping up to the plate. Nice
not
play from Noah, Riley, Badil, and Reason,
Are you
taking
guys
2 of them out,
dating or
and they
what?
get their valuable storm tags as well,
guys
and the
dating?
ability to continue on in this match.
Is this guy wearing stone
2
dress?
full shield
that was
enemies
scary.
knocked down to 0. 2
Is it-
full
are you wearing the
enemies,
blue
double
style?
shot and then sniped in the head on the down for
Scary.
knockdown.
Snowdrift
or
is
not
the
out
blue
state.
style.
This is huge for this team. They
not
just
even a
earned
style.
freedom
I'm talking
in this
about
game
V.
to do
I'm
whatever
talking
they want.
about V,
They can
not
box up now in
drift.
big chill. They can go push even more and just get tags.
Don't tell me
Don't have to
it's
fully
going
even
to
finish
freaking-
any fights if they don't want to. That is big. And with the 4-point
gonna-
catch up there, they're now only
I'm
3
gonna go
points
for someone
behind.
else.
Come for me.
I'm gonna be the Arctic version.
I'm level 6 in the game, not in the real.
Everyone who's
Not
fighting for the
on my
center
level.
of the zone right now will get tagged by Flick, Thomas, and Anas.
Where are
And
you
they
at?
love this mountain range. This
Like
is where
this?
they know exactly where to peek. We
that-
already saw Thomas HG literally taking snipes through a tree
I got
that
a
he
great
can't even
combo for
see.
this skin.
This
Oh,
is where
that's
they
not
like to
me.
be.
I don't have
This is
guns
where they're going to
everything.
find some value. They have to make sure that their shots hit. On the other side of the thing, you have Han, Jadis, and Chapix here. They're going to take their time, get all
I
the
have-
fishing spots down here.
Oh, no
Maybe
way.
go out to the Flopper Island
And
if they
I
need
can
to.
only
They have
find my
options on the
weapons.
rotations
What?
to go ahead and go push out someone who's just survived out there in Steamy Stacks. They can make their way to Stealthy Stronghold. That's all in their game plan. They've done it before. The question is, where is Zone 2 going to
My
go?
game's lagging.
And that's going to change as well. I think what's been working from them is getting to center very early and establishing a great base. That's worked every time here today when Zone pulls up north.
It's
I
worked
can
every
only
time
break
on
green.
expeditions and adventures, though, right? The thing is, with this zone, hasn't been too much of a commonplace in EU. These guys are now at home, basically living in the same house, realizing they're gonna have to fight each other. It's not about just, leaving,
the dress
putting on your
dude?
coat, going to a mountain, going to the desert, or going anywhere else. With the North Zone, all 3 of these teams,
coming
our
for
top
someone
3,
who's on
are
the
comfortable sitting on their couches, but having to act, play, and take control. That is very hard to do in Fortnite.
If there's anything that could teach us what 2021 to 2020 to 2021 is, you could do things remotely, and we've been rocking it from home, and those boys have been rocking it from home as well. They're gonna go to Remedy's house here, gonna crash into this home, about to get right in this house here,
got a
and
lot of
see,
money.
they have to be careful here as well.
Wait, are you
Can
guys
Zone
hardcore
win the
yet?
Santos? That's not
No,
an
we're
easy
playing,
out. Even though
Millionaire
they're not having a
Tycoon.
great day, still some big time
on
decorated
big
teams
screen
out
now.
there that could slow you down, and that just
on
shows you they
big
say it's
screen.
not worked. We got some tags. Let's go ahead and get
Oh,
out of here.
and
Because
I got
all it
knocked
takes
in
is
myself.
one snipe to slow you down and ruin your rotation. It looks like Zone is going to pull more east a little bit. If I had to guess, Shio, it's going to be a little bit north of the Cami split.
Oh my god, I
That's
have a
huge for
hard time
Thomas
sitting.
HD, Anas, and Flick.
Hard time sitting.
There's only
I was
2
right.
teams right now fighting in. Good guess. There we go. And they'll be on a mountain just
I have a
outside
hard
Dirty.
time
Now they'll
sitting
have to rush
now.
in. There's no one
So
doing anything right now. They'll get in first. Take tags
Ow,
if anyone's moving in.
It's so uncomfortable, and I don't want my Nintendo Switch to be dirty.
We're looking at
So,
Dennis and Chapik.
I
We
have
talked about
a
our thoughts
time
and tools
sleeping.
disengaged. For their
I have a
arsenal,
hard
their
time.
weaponry, it's all about shields. It's all about just big boxes, armor. They want to make sure wherever they're walking, they're not getting hit. Like
I have a hard time sleep. No, I have a hard time sitting. Yo guys,
Yeah.
guys, are you in Party Warrior or in a Team Rumble Solid Gold?
What do you mean? We're playing Millionaire Tycoon. It's because everyone else is
Yeah,
in the
what the
lobby.
hell? I was just asking. Then I was
Yeah,
asking.
I already told you.
Okay, want me to go to my toxic skin?
Don't care.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna go to my toxic skin then.
I'm so scared right now for Thomas Ishii, Flick, and Anas. Most likely they stayed up here because they're still looking for tags, but because they stayed up here so long, that allowed Analyx's trio to move up. And don't forget, Kiko out there in Retail Row can make this rotation as well. Coming in 8th place. Still opportunities for Kiko to get into that top 5, so don't count them out as well. Some valuable Storm Surge tags here, but they wish they would had a box fight or some kind of drop contention so they could move already and dead side rotate north towards Steamy Stacks, and this is not where you want to be versus Thomas HD, Flick, and Anas. No way.
Bob and I, everyone moving in, I think one of the most benefiting things from moving late is You get to move past people's bases, get a better spot,
How do you
understand how
get
people are
that?
rotating and moving.
You have to go down to yours. You have to go to your
And
stairs
I
and
realize
then
now
go
for these
down.
guys, for keeping that medieval
Wait,
team,
but where are you at?
guillotines they set up. Always a slow setup to see where they
I
go.
wanna get
Once
some
they
guns
have that
too.
rope all the way, set up towards
I'm
the
right
top,
here, I'm
they're
right here,
ready to
right
go
here.
and chop.
Here.
It's big for them. They get hyped.
Oh no,
It takes
this
a
is the
long
wrong
time.
person.
Help me, help me,
Like a
help
turkey
me,
shape,
help me.
like a big cannon to load. It takes a long while
Hey.
for them to really set up, but they have such big firepower. When they get there, it looks so good. So, will they have a chance
Where
to
are you at?
play?
Come
Is
on,
the
my
question. With the zone, absolutely yes. You just mentioned it. Analyst is moving
He
by.
kicked you on
right?
accident.
And
Yeah. My game is lagging, so that's why.
How's I hacked? This ain't fair. This is rigged.
You just got hacked.
You just hacked me. If you did, I'm leaving. Smack.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Next to each other. Again, 11 points separating so many of the big names. They're all right now, as you see, Janice Hen and Chapix picking on iDrop, Savage and Tayson, who are making such a crazy rotation. I don't know if they're going to have a
That's
lot
not
here,
actually
but it
a
just
thing,
shows you how
you know.
valuable vehicles can be.
There's
We
only
had some
10.
great breakdown from the NA East
There's
test,
only
breakdown
10
how
though.
vehicles have been such a big factor in the season. Just allows a lot of flexibility. But still at the same time, man, couple of shots could explode your right here.
Exactly. The same exact thing happens to me. Same exact thing. And it's annoying.
Some nasty snipes here on the socials here.
No.
This engagement's gonna be big. That is the Vehicle trio coming in third
Yeah.
place
Same for me.
in this
The least
Bro,
man
how
just
do
because I
you
beat
get
them.
guns? How do you get
Finally,
guns?
someone actually got guns.
Still have an opportunity to make
I
some
Someone
don't
know.
know.
money
I have-
for them here today.
Hen versus Noah Riley and Vidil.
Oh,
I can
They're
already
taking
buy
shots.
gold. And I'm
Talking
only
about
on
cars, this one
green.
might lose a
I'm
tire
on
here
green
real
and
quick.
no, I'm buying
Damage
gold
out
right
for
now.
these guys. Noah Riley's out.
Ew, Nixie. Hey, Nixie.
Taking a look at the feed, Benji and Matzo are in this fight
Yeah, I
as
can
well
hear us,
against
bro.
Pink's trio.
Why'd you
Looks like
kick
Benji
him?
may survive that
I
fight.
don't want
The top 5 is now in engagement now.
I
You
have
the
gold
Deals trio
weapons,
going
by
up
the way.
against the duo of Noah Riley.
How do you buy?
So you could just mute him.
Fine.
Yeah, but everybody could just hear him.
Then mute him. That's the point of muting him. So you
I'm
won't hear him.
not level 3. I'm on level like 1.
Can I go back to the lobby? Is that okay?
Okay. I mean, I'm stunned. I have a gold scar, gold pump, and gold ball. And 2. Because you can't just join.
What happened to my boss, guys?
And I already have gold.
How do you... Where's the guns at? Where's the guns at, man?